Hello and welcome. My name is no. Hey, how's it going? My name's Liam and welcome. Welcome to Papa's house. In this video, I'm going to be doing a build that works around using Helfire Tincture, Planula, and Nukahana's Opinion. And I'll show you how to go from this to this. But before we start, I'm going to explain Helfire Tincture and Planula for any new players. The way that Helfire Tincture works is that it is a lunar equipment that surrounds you in blue flames when activated. Anything in the circle of flames takes damage, including yourself, for 20 seconds. The damage it deals is 5% of your max HP, but it only deals half of that damage to you for a total of 2.5% max health every tick. The damage done to enemies, however, is 24 times 5% health, meaning it deals 120% of your max HP to enemies every tick. A tick happens every 0.2 seconds for a total of 5 ticks per second. The Hellfire effect cannot kill the player, meaning it will never deal the last bit of damage needed to kill you. Next up, we have Planula. This item heals you for a flat amount of 15 whenever you take damage. So that's 15 HP per hit. Now this is where the build comes in. Planula will heal you every time you take damage from Helfire Tincture, and this effect can be used to create a very powerful build when combined with Nukahana's Opinion, which is an item that sends out haunting skulls whenever you get healed. You see where I'm going with this. So let's get started. You can play this on any survivor. I'm going to go with Commando, and I'm using the Artifact of Command to get all the items I need. First up, when you spawn on stage 1, get killing enemies and search for your first few chests. If you get any green items, make sure to turn them into regenerating scrap. We'll be using them to get red items later on. Aim to have 5 regenerating scrap by the end of stage 2. Then for your first 2 white items, grab Repulsion armor plates. These will help reduce the damage you take from your Helfire Tincture when you have it active. And if you happen to find any lunar pods, you can open them. Hopefully, if you get a passive item, you can turn it into the Gesture of the Drowned. And if you get an active item, like I do here, then you can grab an early Helfire Tincture. For the rest of the stage, stack up on movement speed items. I just went for Paul's Goat Hoof, but you can grab a few energy drinks for more sprint speed. By the end of the run, I won a total of 5 Paul's Goat Hoofs and 5 energy drinks, so just kind of base it on that. Start the boss and get killing. Once that's done, you can grab some more scrap and leave the stage. On stage 2, look for the Newt Altar and activate it. You can do this on stage 1 if you have enough scrap and you can reach the Newt Altar, but stage 2 is just as good and is actually more crucial. Search the stage for an equipment barrel and grab yourself a Trophy Hunter's Tricorn. You can do this at every opportunity you get for more boss items. For your next green item, grab a fuel cell. This will lower the cooldown on your active item. You only need a total of 4 fuel cells and 1 Gesture of the Drowned for the Helfire Tincture to be permanently active. So you don't need to pick up more than 4 fuel cells. If you find any Void Cradles, you can pop them and grab a Weeping Fungus. You can do this at every opportunity you get for some extra healing while sprinting. And speaking of sprinting, once I had my 5 Goat Hoofs, I moved on to picking up energy drinks. Then, for your next green item, grab a Razorwire. This will deal damage to nearby enemies every time you take damage. This includes the damage taken from the Helfire Tincture. When you're ready, you can start the boss and use your Tricorn on it. On this stage, I managed to get 2 Tricorns, so I used both and grabbed myself 2 Planulas. Turn the green item from the boss into another fuel cell and head through the blue portal. Now, in the Bazaar, head over to the kitchen and grab yourself a red item. Get yourself an Aegis, which will give you a temporary shield every time you heal past your max health. If this is your second red item, grab a Rejuvenation Rack to double your healing. Then head over to the lunar market and get yourself a Gesture of the Drowned from any passive item on display, as well as a Helfire Tincture if you don't have one already. Now that you have a Gesture of the Drowned and a Helfire Tincture, it will automatically activate, and your Aegis will start shielding you. Head on down to the Void Fields portal And once you're there, you can start activating vents. Here, you can start converting any white items into focus crystals, which increases the damage dealt to enemies within 15 meters of you. This will really help your Helfire Tincture since it has a little bit more range than 15 meters. Remember to keep picking up fuel cells until you have 4. If you get lucky and find a red item, you can grab a Rejuvenation Rack if it's your second item, and if this is your third item, you can take a Nukahana's Opinion. As you complete more vents, grab more Razorwires. I went for 10 by the end of the run, but you don't need to go for that many. Make sure to pick up at least 1 Wax Quail as well. This will come in handy a little bit later. Once you've collected 10 focus crystals, you can move on to Lensmaker's Glasses for crit chance. When you complete the last vent, make sure to pick up a Nukahana's Opinion. Now you'll start firing out Haunting Skulls really fast. Leave through the null portal and head on to the next stage. On stage 4, look for more equipment barrels, and if you get lucky, you can kill any boss type enemies that spawn during the level with a Trophy Hunter's Tricorn. This will give you more Planulas for more healing. Start turning a few green items into Hopoo Feathers. This will give you a few extra jumps and will help with survivability. As you gain white items, keep picking up crit glasses. You need 10 for max crit chance. If you get very lucky and find a red item, you can grab a second Nukahana's Opinion. Look for the Newt Altar and activate it. Activate the teleporter and use any tricorns you find on the bosses. Grab your Planulas and a Razorwire and leave through the blue portal. During our second visit to the Bazaar, you can trade in your scrap for another raid item. If this is your 5th one, then grab a laser scope. I accidentally used the soup twice. Don't do this. It was a mistake. Because of this, I had to get my green items back, but you shouldn't have to worry about that if you don't make a mistake like I do. Before you leave, look for the Sundered Grove Dream and activate it. This is so you can get scavengers on the next stage, hopefully. I forget to do it here. Sadge. On the next stage, look for the legendary chest, or if you're like me, destroy the bird eggs and fight the alloy worship unit for a red item. Grab yourself a second Rejuvenation Rack and keep searching the stage. For me, this was honestly a very lucky stage, and I got a ton of red items. So I got myself a second Aegis and 2 more laser scopes, but you don't need to worry about that. Once you have your second Aegis, that should be fine. Once you have 10 crit glasses, you can stack up on armor piercing rounds for more damage versus bosses. Start the teleporter and defeat the boss. Make sure to leave through the blue portal. This is going to be our final visit to the Bazaar. In the Bazaar, you can grab yourself a second Aegis if you haven't already, and if you haven't got a second Rejuve Rack, you can do that. For me, I just grabbed a third Rejuve Rack. On Sky Meadow, it's about rounding things out. Make sure you have 10 armor piercing rounds, and once you do, you can move on to collecting delicate watches. The rest of the green items you pick up can be turned into Hopoo Feathers, and make sure to use all the tricorns you find. Start the boss and get ready to go to the moon. On the moon, head over to the soup kitchen and grab yourself a pair of Headstompers. This and the Wax Quail will allow you to jump super high and reach Mithrix before doing the pillars. So you just sprint up this little incline and jump. Now I'll leave you to enjoy the boss fight. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. This build is super fun and super easy. It's very safe, and the only real hiccup is that Mithrix can be a little scary in the final phase. But as long as you take your time, play it safe, and keep your distance, you'll be alright. It's just a little bit of a grind to get him to actually take the amount of damage he needs to start spitting out items. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.